The German general extended his right hand to shake hands with the wounded soldier, but the wounded soldier didn't have a right hand. Then the general extended his left hand, but the wounded soldier didn't have a left hand either, so the wounded soldier raised his right foot. Now the general felt insulted. He turned around and walked towards another veteran, pretending to inquire about the illness, but Steiner didn't want to pay attention to him. Seeing that the general was about to lose his temper, the nurse calmly put a military uniform on Steiner, revealing the 3 medals on his chest. The general could only leave awkwardly, but the successive cold shoulders made the general a bit annoyed.
I want 65% of these men returned to active duty in 3 days.
So as soon as Steiner's arm recovered, he was arranged to return to the brutal front line in the German military camp. Under the introduction of his old friend, Steiner got to know his new comrades one by one, but before he could sit down, the Soviet warplanes came rushing in. Steiner immediately went out to take cover, but the inexperienced new recruits just stood there stunned. The Soviet Union kept dropping bombs on the German camp. The soldiers quickly got into the air raid shelter to take cover. Those who didn't get into the air raid shelter immediately lay down on the ground. The sudden bombs caused heavy losses to the German army. After the Soviet warplanes left, Steiner returned to the barracks where he was supposed to report. The room that had just been filled with people now only had one person alive in it, but they didn't have time to grieve at all. The Soviet T-34S started to attack. They fired at the German position, blowing up the German tunnels. The Soviet T-34S took the opportunity to press forward, making the German soldiers not dare to raise their heads on the position. The German army set up mortars to fight back, but still couldn't stop the offensive of the T-34S. The German army gave up the position and retreated, but the T-34S behind them easily knocked aside the anti-tank Dragon's teeth, and in the blink of an eye, they reached the German soldiers. As a result, the tracks were entangled by the barbed wire. Steiner immediately came over carrying a landmine, and threw the landmine into the tracks of the T-34. As the T-34 tank started again, the landmine immediately blew the T-34 into ruins, but more T-34S charged onto the position. The German army couldn't hold them off, and could only enter the tunnel to take cover. The exit of the tunnel was a factory. Steiner immediately directed his comrades to set up a defense line. As soon as the Soviet infantry rushed into the factory, they immediately encountered an ambush by the German army. The Soviet infantry couldn't hold them off and could only retreat, but the gunshots in the factory caught the attention of a T-34. It immediately loaded the shell and fired, blowing apart the outer wall of the factory. Then it immediately broke through the outer wall of the factory and entered the factory, ready to search and clear it.